Texas National Guardsmen arrive on the southern border.
They will not perform law enforcement activities or interact with migrants. They will help with ground and air surveillance. Guard members will only be armed in circumstances that require self-defense.
Texas gets lower marks in reading and math on the nation's report card.
This is a test that's not given to everybody in the state. It's given to a sampling of students to represent the entire student body. And this year, for the first time, it was actually given on computer tablets.
In his first State of the City address, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg unveils the creation of a transit nonprofit. And Bexar County District Attorney LaHood fires back at county commissioners for hesitating to fund legal fees for a misconduct complaint against him. I'm Chance Dorland with your Express Briefing for Wednesday, April 11th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. And get each day's top news and sports headlines delivered to your inbox at expressnews.com/newsletters. Around 150 Texas National Guard troops have arrived on the border since Friday, joining the 100 soldiers and airmen deployed there under a program led by Governor Greg Abbott called Operation Secure Texas, with the governor promising Texas will send more than 1,000 troops to the border at a rate of about 300 per week. The AP's Rita Foley has more.
We are preparing for the military to secure our border.
That was President Trump a week ago. Now, National Guard troops are beginning to arrive at the border where the president says illegal immigration and crime are at a crisis point. Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas are sending in 1,600 National Guard members. That's about half the number the president requested. California, the only border state that's a holdout, is the only one led by a Democrat. The governor's office says state officials are still reviewing President Trump's request for guardsmen. Under the law, governors deploy the troops and control them. Washington picks up the cost.
The San Antonio Express News spoke with a Texas National Guard captain on the border about his group's mission.
We are here conducting a physical visual deterrence in a strict observe and report operation in support of our local law enforcement partners in the border security initiative of our president and our governor.
Texas National Guard members are no strangers to the border region, as former Governor Rick Perry and Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush have also deployed guardsmen to the southern border. While Governor Abbott has the authority to empower troops to make arrests, the Guard rarely acts in law enforcement roles, and they aren't permitted to apprehend immigrants. Results released this week show last year Texas students fell to their all-time lowest ranking in reading and slipped closer to the national averages in math in an across-the-board decline on the test commonly known as the nation's report card. The AP's Jennifer King reports.
The nation's report card is in, and the results are not great. Roughly a third of American 8th graders and about 40% of 4th graders are considered proficient in reading and math. In 8th grade, the average U.S. reading score was 267 out of a possible 500. That's only 1 point higher than in 2015. In math, the average score was 283, similar to 2 years ago. 4th graders made no improvement in math or reading. The figures are in line with recent trends, with students making big gains in the 1990s and the early 2000s, but no major improvements since then. Education experts say there's still much work to be done to close the achievement gaps and to bring up lower-performing kids.
Texas 4th graders ranked 45th and 8th graders placed 41st in reading on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, in what is now the state's lowest finish in the exam's 25-year history. Although both cohorts saw their standings drop in 2017, Texas students still performed above national averages on the math test, with 4th graders placing 18th and 8th graders 24th. In his first annual State of the City address, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg laid out his vision for a modern, multimodal transit system, placing its creation on a fast track that will go before voters next year. Nirenberg says his new nonprofit, Connect SA, will be tasked with the political work that needs to be done before voters go to the polls, but won't receive taxpayer dollars as it gathers community input and eventually mounts an advocacy campaign for an election in 2019 on a transit plan and funding mechanism. And while county commissioners Tuesday approved an offer by Republican attorney Wade Shelton to defend the county's district attorney for free, Bexar County DA Nico LaHood is firing back at the group's hesitation to fund his legal fees for a misconduct complaint filed against him. LaHood says if he had won last month's primary to run for re-election, county commissioners would be, quote, tripping over themselves paying for it, noting that he feels sorry for the next DA, who may spend the next 4 years looking over his shoulders, wondering if someone's going to make some false allegation. Despite a judge testifying under oath they took place, the Bexar County DA claims he is being falsely accused of making threats to lawyers in a judge's chambers during a murder trial. Last month, LaHood lost his re-election bid to defense attorney Joe Gonzalez, one of the lawyers he is accused of threatening. And that's your daily San Antonio Express News briefing for Wednesday, April 11th. Subscribe to this and other free content at expressnews.com/podcasts. I'm Chan Storland.